You ready, Chief?
Ready? Yep. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll come out of recess and we'll reconvene the town council meeting. We'll begin with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item of business this evening is to give you a couple of announcements. One is the Department of Education has agreed to a second increment grant of $40,000 to our community center to enable them to take another step forward in the
School program, supporting the after school program.
in support of the after-school program. Thank you. The other announcement that I would have is particularly for those who are watching and are not present here, because the ones who drove here have seen it, but I encourage the citizens of Little Compton to visit the Commons and look at the improvements that have been made and are being made. Sidewalks, parking, ignore the stripe at the eastern end of the Commons that I hope will be altered so as to give it some straightness. But other than that, we're in ever improving shape here. So we're pleased with our contractor and the Department of Transportation. Any other announcements that need to be made? The next item then is approval of minutes. First of all, our last meeting on July 25th.
Motion to approve is written.
I just have,
Made and seconded. Yes, sir.
I just have a comment, maybe it's for solicitor. The old business number one is the ordinance, but we're approving the minutes from you. That's not going to conflict with it, is it?
Sorry, I didn't hear.
We approve the minutes. We're approving that. We're gonna vote on it again once we approve the minutes.
Yes.
And it's not, it won't be a conflict.
No.
Okay. That was my only concern. Almost.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And next, the minutes of our August 1st meeting for interviews.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks. Then we have a series of 5 department head reports. The department head reports of the clerk, the police chief, the building official, the fire chief, the tax assessor, and the administrator.
Motion to place all 6 on file unless somebody wants to talk about something.
Second.
Is there any discussion that one would like? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those then are placed on file. The next item is old business. And we have before us a copy of chapter 18-7, in which we adopted the ordinance. And then we said we would like, based on a number of comments, many of them by Mr. Anderson, that we would go forward to our next meeting to ratify the wording. I understand now that we have perhaps another little alteration in the way forward based on the planning board meeting.
That's correct. Planning board met Tuesday night. And they had some other suggestions for some changes. And I just thought it best if, at least on our end, we took a deep breath and made sure that everybody was on the same page before we presented it to you. So my recommendation is to continue the matter to your next meeting.
Motion to continue the attainable housing amendment to the next meeting.
Second. Discussion on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks.
I have a question. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, sir.
I wonder whether the town solicitor was needing to describe in a little bit of detail exactly what it is that is requiring further consideration in drafting. I was under the impression that something was resolved at the planning board meeting and would be voted on this evening.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that was the outcome of it. But Mark, why don't you address that?
Sure. So the part that was discussed during the planning board meeting was whether there should be in the process for attainable housing, both a subdivision and special use permit section or whether those sections should somehow be closely related. And Mr. Anderson supplied some language which we've incorporated, but it's raised another question when we were having that discussion of, well, what is a special use permit in this context? And Mr. DeSisto and I want to take a look back at that and say, is a special use permit really the proper vehicle for the attainable housing review?
And is this something that you will be able to do between now and the next town council meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
The next item then is a memo from the administrator acknowledging expiration of the trial period for Rebecca Miranda as a clerk in the assessor's office effective August 3rd.
Motion to approve, Becca Miranda as the, tax assessor clerk.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to, approve appointment of Rebecca Miranda as tax assessor's clerk. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The next item is that of new business, and it's consideration of a fireworks celebration for 2024. Question that I would pose is, ought we to activate the fireworks committee? Is there an interest in fireworks this year? I have personally not been asked by anyone to do that, but what's
Kind of late,
pleasure of the,
kind of late. We generally coordinate with chicken barbecue.
yeah,
And I don't think this year would have been too dry. That's generally the problem we have, but I mean, it's kind of late in the season.
I guess the only other event I would consider coordinating it with is the community dinner.
yeah.
Well, that's a good idea.
And
Well,
can I make a comment? I am under the impression from the fire department that the state has changed their regulations and we will not be allowed to have it at the ball.
Oh,
So that may come into play with your,
Because of the range of the devices or,
he didn't explain.
okay.
He just said that the state has changed their regulations and we will not be allowed to use the ball field.
what if I make a motion that you talk with the chief and see what his concerns are?
I was gonna suggest we task the administrator to talk to the chief and return back to us. I know you've talked with the fireworks people and they have open dates in September. So I don't know if 2 weeks is going to be too long and those dates will fill up. When is the dinner? The 9 or something like that?
8th, I believe.
So that might be tight. Again?
Because they said the weekend of the 5th, they would not be available.
Just a point of order, we have two motions on the table and nobody's.
No withdrawal.
Yeah, nobody seconded either one, so.
So they're dead right now.
Okay.
Mine wasn't a motion. It was just,
Well, apparently it just turned into one.
I don't think we need a motion.
What he said.
I think that we can just charge the administrator.
I'll second it.
What's
On his, Patrick's, is that what you're seconding?
Yeah, Patrick's.
the motion is made and seconded to task the administrator with reviewing opportunities for fireworks, including clarifying with the fire chief any restrictions on using our normal launch point. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
God bless you.
The next item of business is a memorandum from the administrator seeking authorization to contract with Melissa Hutchinson for architectural services. Proposal of construction of a DPW building. Let me point out that the architectural services being discussed are the building envelope, which takes advantage of her particular capabilities in that she's done what she did for this building. She may or may not be the person who actually designs the installation of the steel building itself.
I would be uncomfortable with voting for this. I've never met the woman. I think we should bring her into the council and discuss what her responsibilities are in this phase. I think that's appropriate to have her come here. and have us ask questions. If you read in your packet, there's quite a bit of things in there. Got a lot of things going on in this building. I'd be interested in speaking with her to her face before voting. It's my opinion.
I'll make a motion, we allow the solicitor to go forward with this.
Yeah.
I mean, the
That's great.
administrator to go forward with this.
Can I get a point of clarification?
Sure.
On this proposal itself, there's an estimated amount of hours. And the total amount is based on the estimated hours. If this proposal is to be approved, it'll be a contract. So I recommend that the motion include a condition that if the work requires that amount, total amount to be exceeded, that before that's done, the contractor seek the approval of the council first to exceed the cap.
I'll amend my motion to include what the solicitor said.
So to be clear for the public, the total amount cited by the architect was $3,125. And that would then be established as a cap for the work without return to the council.
I'll second that.
There further discussion?
If I may, just for
Yep.
clarification, the request is for her to develop an envelope. It's not to provide everything that's giving us, as was pointed out by the solicitor. Anything beyond that, then we would have to come back to the council. Not only that, we also have to plan to make a presentation of what the envelope looks like to the council as well, before any other actions.
And just to reiterate my point, I haven't met the woman. I'd appreciate it if she would come and talk to us. We can ask her some questions. This thing's been going on for 2 years now, I think, maybe longer. I mean, I think another couple of weeks is not an issue.
I don't know how to react to it's been going on for 2 years, but
It's been talking about it for 2 years now, a year.
sure, yeah. But yeah, we were focusing on this project and on getting this part of the work done. So
Motion's made and seconded, sir.
okay. Are there any other comments? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Thank you. The motion carries on a vote of 4-1. The next item of business is communications. The first of those communications is a resignation received from Robert Mara, resigning from service on the pension committee. Mention that Mr. Mara has served the town for 24 years, perhaps, on the pension committee.
Didn't look it up, but it'd be over 20.
Yeah. So it's
Motion to accept his resignation with regret and send him a thank you from council.
motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. I'll take the letter for action.
Do you need to post this for new appointment?
Yep, it will.
Yes,
It's already on the agenda.
it's there. And if you have somebody that you're aware of, I'd be grateful to know it. We rely very heavily on the three members of the committee who are citizen members. Second is second item of communication is a copy of a public notice from the Coastal Resources Management Council regarding its receipt of a regional federal consistency certification by the National Marine Fisheries Service Office of Protected Species, specifically North Atlantic right whale vessel strike reduction.
Motion placed on file.
Second.
The motion is made to place on file and seconded. The solicitor has an input.
So CRMC actually has a very limited role in this federal rulemaking process. What they're required to do is to say whether or not this change, the federal regulation, is consistent with the enforceable policies of Rhode Island's Coastal Resources Management Plan, which was approved by the federal government. So this is the comment period that they have before we can forward that out to the federal government. Unfortunately, this notice is tomorrow if you have any comments.
This is for vessels. I go through this all the time. It was for vessels 65 feet or over. They were supposed to go lower than 10 miles an hour, so they didn't strike any whales as they came up and breached. Now they've lowered it down to 40-foot depths, I believe, so.
Oh.
That's what they want to do. Has passed yet. The charter fishermen are kind of up in arms with it because when they leave port, they go out to the canyons. They generally do 20 knots. So this would prohibit them from doing that. So there's going to be a bit of a backlash for some of these people. And of course, the tankers that go back and forth overseas, they're generally doing 12, 14 knots. And I don't think they've been told to slow down. But as we all know, there's a time factor going back and forth. Time is money for those big ships. And I haven't heard any Coast Guard stopping them. I've never seen a Coast Guard stop one of those tankers.
Thank you.
Yes.
The motion that is made and seconded to place on file. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The next is a fire inspection report from the Little Compton Fire Marshal regarding 32 Common.
This is the Grange building. I was kind of set back a little bit by all the requirements that the fire marshal says that needs to be done. Obviously, now that we know there's problems there, we have to do something about it. I talked to the town administrator and he had, and correct me if I'm wrong, he'd asked the building official to try to come up with an RFP for that building. And then when it was asked of the fire marshal to give us a report on it, then the town administrator said, we'll wait till the report comes back and then he would send it back to the building official to see if he could come up with an RFP to address these issues. Is that correct?
That is correct. But well, and the last part of it was more of a review for us to review the report.
Okay.
Prior to follow up an RFP. So
Right.
all of it right on target. So at this point, I've had the opportunity to review it along with the building official. He has come up with some suggestions. So we broke it down in some tasks. We have things that we can do internally.
Right.
Within the department. Other things we need to bring professionals in, the electrician, the present alarms to take a look at the systems there. And then we have a couple items there that I think are going to go beyond that. That may need a lot more attention, which would require us to go for an extension.
So I agree with that. And I think if we let the fire marshal know that we're going to try to rehab the building, which was in the works, we're supposed to do it after this building was rehabbed. So obviously the stairs need to be replaced. The outside of the building is looking pretty ragged. So I think at this time, I think it should be a comprehensive package. What we can fix, we should fix right away. So we can say we're putting a good faith effort in to try to get these things corrected. But some things, I think we have to have an extension until we can get down there and do the whole building and get it done right. So it's safe. There's kids that use it, there's older people that use it. I think it's appropriate for the town to spend some money on that building.
So it's my understanding from reading this comprehensive document here is that one, it's the responsibility of the town to keep our buildings up, number one. And two, I think the big ticket item is the elevator. Am I right?
Just don't mention it.
That's one of them, not counting the front steps.
Well, the
Some of the work that really needs to be done to the building. So I think there is about 3 items in there that you're looking at $3.
yeah, I think the elevator may be the most.
That may be the sticking point for the internal, for the use of the building. That's
Now, let me point out that this report is dated the 23rd of July. That means by the 22nd of August, that would be our next meeting. We need to have applied for whatever necessary, compliance issues that we might have, including application to the state marshal, which I expect we'll need to do. So that process needs to be completed in 2 weeks in order to be within the fire code, fire safety code.
If I may,
Sure.
as a follow-up to that, it would be important for the council to take some action and authorize us to, if we cannot get all the items done, to actually go forward and ask for an extension, not wait until the next council.
Perfectly done, sir. Exactly where I was headed.
That would be my motion.
I'll
Second.
No,
That would be my motion, Carol.
It's made and seconded to task the town administrator with bringing forward a plan for correction that includes any necessary application and to execute that application to the fire safety board.
Just to clarify, I did ride up and down in that elevator, so it's not like the elevator doesn't work. I'm not sure.
I have
What?
2 questions. One, who made the second?
Paul?
Andrew did. No, Andrew did.
Oh, I thought.
And thank you. All right, and
But did it
the
matter?
other thing is, it's not the elevator that needs to be replaced. There's a key that is
Right.
necessary. So it's the key that needs to be added to it, which we added to this elevator downstairs
Okay,
several years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not the whole elevator.
no.
Not that it could
I
be
rode up and
replaced.
down that elevator.
Have they changed the
When you were over there.
firefighters, the requirement that they be able to put their gear in it and set it up? And then, is that what the key is about, or is the key to lock it? Because that was a bone of contention that we went through with
Yeah.
Otis.
Yeah, I don't know specifically, but it requires a fire safety key that enables those actions to happen.
I'm just saying that might be one of the waivers we're looking for.
Yeah, we may need to do that. That then is the motion, and it has been seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Thank you. The next is a request for a holiday sales license received from Ted Marble doing business as Secundit Import Ted out of 33 Meeting House Lane.
I'll make a motion to approve it with all necessary local and state permits acquired.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thanks. Next is a request from Bruce Elwell doing business as the trolley stop for a holiday sale and victualling license for the remainder of the license period. The solicitor has reviewed this and has some comment for us.
I understand that, I don't want to say this publicly, but there's some issue with the division of taxation. That's correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
It's the only place we can get ice cream in town. Come on, Tony.
So what is your pleasure?
Well, let's have something, let's start from the solicitor.
If you approve it, it's got to be subject, as you always do, this, all state and local
Yeah, that's a normal approval process.
requirements. But, ahead of time, just so you know, he's not going to be able to do that.
So motion to approve with all local and state permits obtained and any other requirements that need to be adhered to.
Second.
The motion is made and seconded to approve the request for a pair of licenses subject to the conditions that were just cited by Councilor Mataronis. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the last item in open session is the payment of bill.
Motion to pay the bill.
Second?
Discussion.
Aye.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the open session of this meeting is drawing to a close. We intend to invoke the agenda item that says the town council may enter into executive session under 2 facets of Rhode Island general law. One is A2, which is litigation, and the other is A5, which is discussions of acquisition of real properties. I will poll the counselors as to their willingness to enter into executive session. Counselor Moore. Aye. Counselor McHugh. Mushin, aye. Ellen Vestry.
Aye.
Mataronis, aye. All 5 counselors have agreed to enter into session.
While he clears the room.